Hey, welcome back to another episode of Heavy Rotation, tribute to Cleveland Metal and Beyond. In the studio tonight, we have the whole Burial Oath crew. We had Jesse. What's up, Jesse?
What's up, man? How you doing?
We had Jesse on previously, and he was kind enough to bring the whole band in this time. They're getting ready to go out on tour across the U.S. With Wraith, Black Mariah, some other bands. We'll get into all that. They've got some new material in the works and have been doing this for a while, so plenty to talk about. We'll get started, introduce the band. All the way over here, we got the man behind the microphone, Nick. What's up, brother?
What's going on?
And then, yeah, if y'all can just introduce yourself from there. We Jesse's back in the building, then we got...
I'm Bob, I play bass.
Yes, sir. And then...
I'm Dom, I play guitar.
Dom on guitar. So, in this current incarnation of the band, I know you, Jesse, you had mentioned there was a different singer before. With Dom on guitar and Bob on bass, has that been a consistent lineup, or how have things like taken shape over the years for Burial Oath?
Yeah, it's sort of an interesting path we've had. We started when the band originally started. We had a few different people in the works on guitar. Like by the first incarnations of like the Burial Oath rehearsing, even were me and Sean, and then I know at one point Jesse from Atomic Witch was like jamming with us, and Anthony from Inoculation was jamming with us because we were all in the same fold. But that didn't ever really pan out. And Dom and I have known each other for a very long time, so we decided to just keep it a three-piece, me, him, and Sean. That kind of happened from the full length all the way up until now. We've been kind of the core, the core two behind the band. Bob here is a little bit newer, joined us about 6 months ago at this point, and then Nick over here. He might as well be original at this point just because of what he's helped us do with the band. Between just like the tours and his input on recordings, he's been, feels like he's been around for forever, even though, 2 years maybe?
Yeah.
2 years in the band? Yeah.
Sure,
but he feels like he's been around for forever. So I would, at this point in the band, I would consider him absolutely an original member. But
doesn't even really feel like he ever actually like came in out of nowhere. It just kind of feel like you materialized out of nowhere, and then it was just you were there. Yeah.
Yeah, because we have several different members. At one point we had a Jay Bird on bass, too. So we had a lot of different people in the band, but it's always kind of been Dom and I at the core. And Bob here, we've known him for a long time, so yeah.
Well, hey, right on, man, and shout out to Atomic Witch, Inoculation, and anyone else that that helped the band take shape along the way. Members of. I would say before we get too far into this, Dom, I'm looking at your mic level. I think it would be best to bring just a bit closer. Are you ready? Because you just seem to be a soft-spoken cat, right? I've had a couple, like everyone's got their own interviewing style, I guess you would say. Mm-hmm. Like Corey from Fistula, Corey Bing. I definitely like pushed his vibe up all the way. He's like very chill, like soft-spoken guy. And then someone like Curran, Murphy, who was on last week, like he's very just got like a lot of energy, so but that's good, man. We're all unique in our own way, I suppose. So we got a strong lineup now. The day ones, Jesse and Dom, and now with the last release that came out, is this that was including everyone in the room?
No. So the last release that came out was me and Dom, a past incarnation of the band, and
Sean was on bass.
Sean was on bass for that record. But with Sean's departure from the band, we wanted to bring in a new singer because we didn't want to release something that was old. Mm-hmm. And even though this album came out in 2024, the material's been written for
2019 before COVID.
Yeah, it's been 6-7 years it's been written, I think.
Yeah.
So if we were going to re-release this material and actually do it the right way, we wanted to do it with Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was listening to the Cycles of Suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. On the way over here, and I listened to a little bit, leading up to the last interview when I had you in. And I'll admittedly, say, like, I'm not the most well-versed in, like, black metal. But just, like, for me, like, I can really appreciate, I'm not saying just to gas you up because you're in the room with me. Like, I really enjoy, like, the stuff on that element. It's very, like, melodic and, like maybe slightly even progressive. Not like having, like, a bunch of different meter changes, but, like, it was a good listen, I mean, there's black metal has, like, evolved a lot, like, from, just, like, mayhem or, like, the roots of it, right? To where that you have, like, different subgenres, I think, even within it.
Yeah, it's.
Can I speak to this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
please
absolutely,
do,
yeah.
man.
The thing that I have grown to learn about Cycles is that even after listening to it now, I realized that record is entirely drum driven. So the progressive side of that record that you're hearing is honestly me doing a lot of the work to accompany Jesse and being the highlight of most of the record, because I feel like Jesse's drumming is pretty top notch in that, even as it ages, and a lot of his stuff has a lot of that playing style still bleeds into the new material, but like it's gotten better. So it's cool watching that record now from like an abstract sense of like point of view, because I listen to Beyond and I hear a bunch of kids, and then I listen to Cycles and I hear a bunch of adults just on the cusp of figuring it out. And it's just that record for me, I listened to it and I'm just like, it was a really fun record to write, because I got to see that explosion of like drum technique come forward on the record. So between that and Nick kind of powerhousing through it, I kind of feel I enjoy being the background noise in that record, because it's like that record has a lot of qualities that most black metal bands don't highlight, and I think that's what kind of separates that from a lot of different black metal records out there.
Yeah, to speak to and to kind of bounce off what he said, the evolution of black metal is it's weird, right? Because when we wrote that album, it was during a period of evolution in black metal. Everything was kind of going with this new kind of it was a lot of flutter picking and a lot of augmented chords, which is interesting, because if you talk about the evolution, now things are evolving once again, but almost back to the way they were. So now you have a lot of bands like Worm and a lot of bands, even Cloak that I played with is one of them, where it's kind of falling back into more aggressive territory as it used to be, while still polished. It's evolved into something that's familiar and it's new, but that aggressive piece is back. Like it's a little less melodic than it was, and now it's kind of it's picking up hints of those early guys that kind of trailblazed the scene again. Just kind of putting a new spin on it. But I want to get him involved too, because he was so Bob, we met him through playing shows, and he had his own band, and we became friends. We've been friends for a while, but he was a fan of the band. So, and I think you were, because you liked Cycles. That's what it was, right? Yeah.
I love Cycles. Yeah. Yeah, as a fan of the band for a long time, and then getting to play some of the songs is still kind of like surreal. You know what I mean? It's like, I think the year it came out, that was either my top most listened to album or second most, but either way, I love it. And there's one song I wish we would play from it.
Join the club, man.
Yeah.
Me and Nick have a song we really want to play.
He says
with that record.
Cycles, but then the other piece of it is him and I go way back too, because we were playing shows together with our other. I'm in Offstingen now, which is another band of Nick's, but we were playing shows together back when like Offstingen was starting. So now it was funny. We were sitting up in my living room the other day watching old clips of a festival we played together, Life After Death at Westside Bowl.
Yeah, I was like, you can see me right there.
I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting that we played that and that you were there. And Jesse mentions that all the time.
Yeah,
It's like, man, that's
we
crazy. I've
didn't
crossed
play
your
at the
path.
same time, even though I was able to watch you guys.
Yeah.
Because you
That was
Stingin'
Kentucky.
and Fornicus were the only 3 black.
That was the
bands at
Cincy show, right? That's where the whole shit went down.
Youngstown.
With the,
Youngstown, yeah, it was that big festival.
West Side.
So it was funny because like there's a set on YouTube and there's still a lot of it is Sean's work, and still a lot of the songs were before they were even recorded, so you can hear some really raw intro level versions of the songs before they materialize into what he made them. So it's kind of an interesting thing of how we found these guys just working together and being friends throughout the scene and being fans of each other's bands, and now we're all kind of playing together, which is cool.
It's really funny to be two of the dudes who know what the record used to sound like and then have to adjust when he comes in and rewrite the whole thing. We're like, okay, this rules. But like when you play the songs for 6 years a certain way and then you hear them the way that they're like written now, it's like, okay, this is rad. But your brain has to like rewire. It's really funny to listen to Cycles now because there's like 2 versions in your head at all times.
I will say it was tough writing lyrics for Cycles because you guys gave me the tracks with Sean on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might have been bullying you a little bit to some degree.
I needed it.
But you know, I like it though. It's something I've come to really appreciate because you know we are lucky to have this group of guys. We talk about it all the time. If you're lucky enough to have even a couple dudes outside of the core too that are on the same wavelength as far as like where you want the band to go, the idea, the goals, the vision, that's super rare. That's super rare. And
Can speak to that.
And
yeah.
bringing him in was almost a breath of fresh air because finally I like, you know, he comes into the band, he's like, oh, we should do this. And I'm like, you know, brother, I've been trying to do this for 10 years. Let's go. So it's been really cool having him in the band. And, you know, Nick's addition to the band has been, when I first started Burialoth before Dom was even in it, when Sean came in to do vocals, I always wanted Burialoth to sound aggressive. I'm a big fan of bands like Gorgoroth, big Pest fan, vocalist of Gorgoroth, and he is basically Pest Light. So for me, as a fan, having him in the band, I'm like, I kind of get to, all these years later, what is it, 10, 11 years later, now I get to hear the band the way I initially envisioned it, which is really cool.
Yeah. It's also really interesting to hear your music change the dynamicism of your, so like when we listen to Cycles now, we're like, the band's much different now. But like when you listen to Cycles now, the dynamicism of our music, even now that we're writing that's not released yet, it's just like, it's a huge contrast. So we're super pumped because like we appreciate the love for Cycles, but we're also just like, man, we can't wait to get this new record out because you guys are it's gonna rule.
I listen to it every day.
I have a hard time listening to my own music, but
same. I agree. I'm with Jess on this one.
listening to it.
Always.
But
No.
you know, it's
I haven't
goofy.
listened to it since we
It's
left the
kinda goofy
studio.
because every band is like, "This is going to be the best thing we've ever done." You know, there's always progress to be made. But
Technically speaking,
But I
that statement
do-
is always true if you're
You know,
always
yeah.
getting better.
Yeah.
But I do believe this album coming out is supposed to be everything. It's like all culminations of the best parts of the band all in one with this new mature sound, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I like how we're all like basically on like we're on like the stand like I did not say anything, Your Honor.
I hope I don't feel like
No. I was just making a joke. Like our demeanors. This is like really funny.
like, did you tune your guitar before recording this? Like,
I
we'll just, like, make it like an inquisition.
I plead the fifth passing
so
statements.
I had seen, and I apologize if I'm rehashing a little bit of what like our prior interview, but yeah, for sure I had seen some posts of, or maybe might have just been like Instagram stories of you guys tracking said album at Mercenary.
I posted a couple of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So is it the album's good to go? It's just a matter of rolling it out, or is there?
Yeah,
okay.
it's good. Still waiting on our guy Noah to get it back. I know he's busy, so we're still waiting to get some like
Mastering.
mastering and some final touches. We still have a few symphonic tracks that have been done courtesy of our own. We just because the band has taken kind of without planning it, just taking inspiration from the stuff we love has kind of taken this turn into this symphonic black metal territory. Which is stuff we're all really passionate about. So it's become really symphonic and it's become kind of grandiose. And I don't know. I don't think we would have been able to do that if we didn't have this group of people specifically in this band.
Excellent, man, and shout out Noah. Yeah, busy cat, but I would bet that it's when he's not just gonna rush through and send it to you, right? Because it's like the more as the reputation grows bigger, and everyone's like, yeah, hey, you're in a metal band, you should go have this dude record it, right? So now, I'm sure he's a smart cat, right? He's like, okay, I gotta keep it at this level, even make things better, instead of like just sending out a bunch of bad mixes, right? And that's gonna, so
There's a reason we've worked with Noah for like 10 years.
right. With power comes responsibility, something like that. So all the Burial Oath releases have been tracked with Noah thus far?
Sub 2 records, I believe. We did 2 records with Tom Tadson. And then Cycles was done with Noah, and then the following record that we're getting out right now is done with Noah. But we've essentially been working with Noah for the last, like, I think probably not 10, it's probably like 7 or 8 years, like, exclusively for these records now, thinking about it. 7,
Yeah,
at least 7.
I mean, it only goes back to Cycles. The rest of them have been tracked with Tom, so.
So we only had 2 and 2, so yeah.
All right, very cool, man. And then as it stands, again, I probably asked you this last time, but or do you plan on releasing this through Redefining again, or is that sort of like to be determined?
I mean, that's the plan. Tommy's a friend of ours. He's been a big, through all iterations of the band, he's been a big help and a big supporter. And I'm the kind of, specifically me, and I know all of us in general, because we've talked to, I mean, I have friends at different labels, and we've pitched the ideas around of working with different people, but I genuinely do like working with people that I know and that I trust, because whatever this industry is, whatever you want to call it, this whole thing can be very volatile if you're working with the wrong people, and it can really backfire. So if I get to work with someone I trust, I will. And me and Tommy have kicked around the idea. I'm assuming we're going to do another one together. I think that's the plan. Release date and all that stuff to be determined. We got to get through this tour first and see where we land.
So with the tour kicking off at the end of the month, I believe, what's your I would imagine you over the years you sort of have developed like a routine, but as it stands, how do you guys, are you rehearsing like multiple times a week, or you mentioned you have symphonic tracks, so I would think there's and you told me too, which I would expect from you, the way you carry yourself and the way that you have a click, and you got all these things just like wrapped up, ready to go, I would think.
Yeah. Without being too winded, I was like, Bob, you could take this one, but Bob's I was a little bit newer. Yeah, we play to a click. All the symphonics are done in house, and we do some slight EQ and on them to make sure that they're ready to go live. But we do all that in house.
We rehearse weekly.
Yeah,
it's been that way for years.
Yeah, we won't, because he lives in Columbus and he lives in Pittsburgh. It's a little bit different now. We'll really only start cycling on rehearsals when we know we have a tour coming up, and then after a tour we might take a few months off, so we might not see each other for a few months, but it's
that's not right. That's not cool. I thought we were friends, dude.
Well, but when you live in a van with each other for 3 weeks, you probably get a month off, it'd be fine. Love you guys. Yeah. But yeah, it's a lot of rehearsal. I mean, we just did a rehearsal today because we knew we were coming up here, so it's we rehearse the set the way you're going to see the set live, because it is imperative that if you're playing to a click track, you can't miss, especially with symphonics and keys. You can't miss. You're not allowed. So I think it's more or less like the response. It's not we got to get together and jam so we can play tight. It's a responsibility. If someone's going to pay money and attend our show, we have the responsibility to make sure that we're going to perform at our absolute best every night. So.
Yeah, and respect for that, man. I mean, that's the long and short of it. I mean, like, there's just so many bands out and so many ways to spend your money, ways to spend your time, things to occupy, just sitting there looking at your phone and doom scrolling, or sitting at home watching Netflix. You got somebody out working class. It's like, yeah, man, we gotta deliver, right? So I respect that, and I believe you when you say that you take that seriously.
We've always held like a since me and him met each other, we've always been kind of like sticklers about going to see bands who can't perform the way they've either recorded it or put it on the record, and we've always written what we feel to believe we are capable of playing live so we can deliver the full immersive experience. And that philosophy has not necessarily boxed us, but has kept us grounded in making sure that we're consistently getting good enough to make sure we can do that, if that makes any sense.
No, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I think, there's, especially with, I'm not sure how that process is for you guys personally, but like sometimes if I'm writing stuff, I'll use like Guitar Pro and I'll write it out. And then, there's been times where I'm like, man, that sounds really cool, but maybe the computer can play that great, and like, I'm not gonna be able to play it. Maybe I need to like dial that back a bit.
Let me boost your confidence. This entire record was written post visit, so most of this record was written amongst demos pieced together, rehearsed, and learned. A lot of this record, we make jokes because like, we wrote the song, now we have to learn how to play it. It's like, fudge. I almost said the bad word, guys.
Don't say that.
No.
Yeah, it's that whole piece has kind of evolved for the band too, especially with him being down there, which for the better in a lot of ways, because you do have more time. Like you say, you sit down, you do something on Guitar Pro. You have more time to sit down there when you're fresh and you're not tired. Mm-hmm. You had a cup of coffee and you're playing real great, and it sounds really cool when you send a demo. But then you get in a room and you try to piece it all together, and you're just like, you gotta be a little bit better than that. But the positive to that is that we already have, this record was done very quickly, and we already have maybe half, if not a whole other record in the chamber that we just have to piece together. So. Mm-hmm.
Where I was going with this is that even though it looks intimidating and daunting when you're doing it on Guitar Pro, a lot of these songs that we wrote for the new record were daunting for me because I pushed a lot of my boundaries with this record, and he helped me push some of those boundaries with this record. So even coming into these songs, like, we play them fluid and solid now live, but when we first started rehearsing them, we were like, ooh, yeah, we got to get better, dude. We got to be better behind our instruments to make sure we can execute these perfectly. So it's been cool writing and recording like that, to be completely honest.
Yeah, and some of the new stuff that like you guys have jammed that like I haven't got there yet, learning those ones, I'm like, oh my god. Like,
try being the guy who did it.
Yeah, like this, you have to use all 4 fingers.
About time.
Right. I claim destruction of riffs. I was the atmosphere guy. Jesse's always been like, we need more riffs, and I was like, all right. So this record was like, here's riffs, dude. Have them all.
I'm excited to hear it, like, in contrast to the prior work. One thing I was curious about is being that, and I've seen some videos since we talked of you playing guitar for like Wild Times or something. It was like an older video, but like, and I'm like, yeah, man, he could play, because some guys are like, they're really good at what they do, I think I'm a decent guitarist, and I can play drums, but I won't try to fib anybody and be like, yeah, I'm a good drummer, but like, I was watching you play, I'm like, yeah, man, this is tight, and obviously you recorded it, but like, I'm seeing the video of you sitting there playing it, and I'm like, there was no, you could tell it was just in the room, no fakery,
no
video. So I was just curious if you contribute to, like, do you have riffs that you'll contribute to the band? And same question even for you, Nick, because I know you do some of the symphonics, like, outside of like, Bob and Dom being the string players in this band, like, how does the overall songwriting work for y'all?
I'll pass it to him here in a second, but yeah, we took a new approach because we've learned, me and Dom have learned to
learn each other's style.
Yeah, kind of learn each other's style and kind of see if we can harness the best out of both worlds. But there are several songs on this record where there might have been one whole section that was maybe solely written by me and then passed off to him for a part that needs more atmosphere, more melody, or more melancholy. Conversely, there's songs where he's written in his entirety and maybe he's passed them off to me to help structure. Conversely, I think there's one song on here that has been solely written by me on the record, and one solely written by him. So we're all very active, and then even now with the new stuff, he's an incredible guitar player. So again, like you said, I don't sit here and pretend that I'm in the same cleanliness or realm of playing as these two guys. I know how to write a song, I think, but more often than not, it's, hey, I have this idea, I play this really sloppy, I know you can play it better here. But I know he's got some material that we're currently working into the next album, beyond this one even, that he's even had in the chambers, because he's a great guitar player. So we really are firing on all cylinders in the band. It's been really nice to have multiple, and even Bob, he plays guitar in his other band. So it's been nice to have multiple people in the band that can do multiple things.
Yeah, I think that's a really good thing. In the, as you know, because, and I take it, you guys are very, I keep saying it the same way, but you're very professional cats, right? When it comes time to, this is always, I'm up to the band, but like, it was explained to me before, it's like, well, a drummer, I'm sure you've heard this before, right? A drummer, like if, say a guitarist writes a song, and then it's like the album credits. If, the guitarist can say, well, it was just written by me, even though the drummer wrote his own parts, right?
Yeah, drummers usually always get boned hard in the writing process. You cannot trademark or like, you could do that with a melody, but you can't sit there on a drums and like trademark a beat and say, well, I invented that. So regardless what you do as a drummer, if you're just playing drums on a record, 99% of the time you're not getting any writing credits. But we try to do our best to avoid all of that. Like, everyone here gets writing credits. Even Nick being so heavily involved with the symphonies and most of the lyrical content was him.
Yeah, if not all.
Well, yeah, this is your band, this is your brand, this is your business, and you get to control that. And if you say it's written by Burial Oath as a whole band, then that's the end of it, right? But as you're explaining to me, and sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, you guys are all involved anyway. So that's a beautiful thing.
I think what he's trying to say is basically, I've been in plenty of bands as he has, and there's always like a general dynamic that exists within a band where one person writes something and then the other person writes the other thing, and that's just the way that it is, and nothing changes and it moves forward, and that's the dynamic. We did that for the first handful of years in this band, and it wasn't until Jesse started playing guitar in front of me and he started presenting riffs, and it's just like, okay, so you write similar to me. You actually have a little more teeth to your writing than I do, but I can adopt some of that from you. So we've always turned away the idea of either a second guitarist because, one, we can't perform it live, or we couldn't, the overhead to keep a guitarist in there. It was always something getting in the way of getting a second guitarist. But as when he started writing in front of me, I'm just like, okay, so he understands my writing, I want to understand his writing, and then it opens the door, it creates this culture in the band where there is no ego. Don't get offended. If your riff doesn't make the pass, then it doesn't make the pass. His riff could be 10 times better than mine, and I'd be like, oh, okay, this rules, let's do this. Same thing with him, same thing with symphonies. We all sat down and wrote symphonies together. Nobody was excluded from that process. There were plenty of symphonies that were my idea on the record, but there was tons of symphonies that were his, and even an ex-member that we had in the band previous, and he'll get credit for that too. So it's just, we try very hard to make sure people know that every voice matters. You're going to be objectively criticized in doing so, but it's all love. Everybody's welcome to present their idea.
And it makes it easier that I write similarly to both of you.
Yeah, it's
like
really
our
nice.
Chords. Like I have an Abstingin song that sounds exactly like Howling.
There was a running joke. There was a running joke on our first tour. We toured with his other band, and we toured with this other band, and one of his songs starts with the exact same chord as Howling, and he's like, hey, You took my riff. I was like, I didn't know you, so it doesn't count, man.
Yep.
So, Bob, what's the other band that you play in? You said you guitar in a different band as well?
Yeah, so I have a project called Veska, spelled Veska. Kind of throws people off sometimes because it's just a random word. But yeah, that's just started as a
I just
solo.
thought of Vespa. I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off.
Yeah.
I'm sure you heard like Vespa is like a car or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's what his band's called. It's called Vespa.
Yeah,
Now it's a K, it's a P, dude.
What's kind of how would you describe Vesca? Like, how would you describe the style of that band?
It started off as kind of like a DSBM kind of thing, and then I was like, I want to kind of get out of this, so I started incorporating. I guess it's the culmination of all my influences, So it's rooted in black metal, but it's uniquely mine, I think. But then I expanded it to what it is now, which is a 2-piece. So I have a live drummer, a good friend of mine. We've played in a couple of projects together. But yeah, that's we actually just finished up a new album that'll be coming out sometime in the future. So yeah, it's been a busy year musically for sure.
Okay, right on, man. And then I take it, as we discussed priorly, that you've been writing, contributing to this new album that was just recorded, and you're at the studio with Noah and all that.
No, not yet.
Oh, not yet.
No, not
He's
yet.
like, don't put me on the spot.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No, but his stuff is really. I remember because he's become a friend of mine over the years, which is him showing me this stuff is the reason he landed the role in this band. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, in a situation where we had to make a change in bass player while we were recording, so me and Dom handled all the music piece in the studio, and then Nick came in to finish up his vocals.
I've known Bob for less than Jesse, but I met Bob through Jesse because he was always at shows, playing shows with us and hanging out and talking and chit-chatting. So it's not like we just picked up a stranger. It's just a homie that also wanted a job playing music, and we're just like, we need a bassist, man.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's probably how type of thing happens in best case scenario, because somebody could send you like a video audition, or you might just already know that they're worthy of the role, and then they might get in the same room with them, and then they just might not get along or something, right?
That can happen, yeah.
Like, that's important.
It's funny because I did watch the Curran interview, and he mentioned going out to Venom, because I remember before I remember Curran before he was in Venom. He came out to some of the shows. Him and I chatted. I wouldn't necessarily say we're like friends or anything, but well acquainted people. He's a good dude. But I knew him before he was in Venom, and then all of a sudden it happened like that. And I remember him mentioning something about having to learn like an hour-long set list or something, or like 50 songs or something like that. But that's kind of the same thing we did to him being in Pittsburgh. We're just like, hey, we got this tour coming up in 4 months. Can you show up and know the songs? And that's kind of how it was. Like, we sent him the songs, we sent him some videos, and just we'll never put someone out on a ledge and be like, kind of figure it out. We'll help him along. But he showed up, he knew the songs, and we're just, okay, you want the gig? And that's kind of how it goes down. So,
how is your, like, so in that case, like, do you provide? Do you say, hey, here's the tabs for you, or here's like an isolated bass track, or is it more so just like how did that go for you, man?
Yeah, so Dom was nice enough to have some playthrough videos for me, which works for my learning style to visually be able to see what's happening. 'Cause, I mean, I can read tabs just fine, but that's a lot better. And Dom was a huge help along the way too. Just if I had any questions, we would hop on FaceTime real quick and just kind of work through any issues I was having, so that I was prepared to show up and succeed. Because even though we're all friends in that kind of scenario, it's still like, okay, we gave you the tools. Like, the expectation is you show up and you're ready to go. And luckily I was. So
Can I just say it's weird having to create that dynamic with a friend and also be like, listen, man, I like you. Please don't mess this up. Do good.
yeah, we all have it's kind of a, like I said, we are all friends at this point, like having, but I think it's funny, like, even us three before Bob came in the band, we still hold ourselves the expectation of like, hey, show up and know the song. You know, it's not, we don't use practice. Practice is not a time to rehearse the song. You practice the song at home. When you get into the room with everybody, that's when you're rehearsing them and you're tightening the transitions and you're putting the polish on it. But we don't learn the songs at that practice. That's a complete and total waste of time. And I think everyone, albeit, even though we are friendly and I think it's one of those things where everyone knows and understands that expectation too. Like if you're stinking up the joint, we're going to tell you.
Yeah, man, as any good friend should, you know, it's just like time is money, and we only, I don't get all philosophical or whatever, but like, you know, you only have so much time on this earth, and then you putting all this time into a band or whatever endeavor it is, right? It's like you start to feel disrespected. People not, I've been through that a million times, man, and just like people showing up not knowing material, and then on top of that,
there have been
going to get high or whatever, other bullshit. You know, it's like, do you? But
yeah,
you know, yeah, like as you said, man, you should already know the songs when you show up.
Names excluded, but there have been several times in several different bands, including this one, where we have tried people out, and within maybe 30 minutes, we tell them to go home. Because
there's no holds barred.
It's no holds barred.
Like, the thing is,
we can be friends, but if you suck, you suck.
I speak to this on myself. I'm like, in my head, you know, statistically speaking, most men live to like what, their 60s and 70s. I'm 35. I'm halfway dead. I don't got time to waste, man. Yeah. So like, I'm coming into that room, and you should have the same mentality as, all right, man. Every moment matters. Every play matters. Every note matters. Do you care enough about this to treat it as it matters the same way you value time? So that's kind of all, and we're always friendly about it, but we're very stern in the fact, like, hey, no, this is all love, no hate, but like, it's all love, no hate, but like, that's just, I don't know. We just
about half hate,
and we're always. You would say what'd you say?
About half hate.
Half hate.
Yeah. Only half though.
Yeah.
Half
hate.
Are you talking about me being short? Is this a short?
I can. I mean,
was
I can.
you. That was it.
Cool. So I plugged it myself. I got coerced. That's what this is.
So then, what is the meaning behind 215? I saw it on a post earlier, and then I see it on your guys' jackets.
Nick,
can you tell us?
Say something, dude.
If you're not allowed to divulge this, we'll move on.
Would you like to take this one, or would you like me to?
Can you lift the cloak on what is 215?
2 is B is the second letter of the alphabet, and O is the 15th. So
Burial oath, B-O.
Burial oath, B-O, 215.
So it's our own kind of current for the not only the band but what it means to us.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a simplistic term of it. Is it's borrowed from like riding culture. You know, like I'll wear the 13 because I'm a rider, which 13 is M. So motorcycle. Sometimes back in the day, it used to mean you dealt marijuana, or sometimes meth, depending on what you're doing.
Yeah, don't wear that one. It's a good thing you don't live in Los Angeles.
We can't speak to whether or not Jesse does these things.
I lived in Los Angeles for 10 years, and you know, it took me a hot minute to realize that, you know, you just accept the fact that you're just literally surrounded by Mexican gangs like everywhere. Mm-hmm. So. But anyway, I don't think there's too much. But 13 in Ohio, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, 13 has its own meaning, but the 2 and 5 has been borrowed from that culture. To the B is number 2, and 15 is O, so it's burial oath. So
yeah. Excellent, man. All right, so yeah, I think that's really cool, man. And you know, like again, you know, in the vein of just everything I know from you, man, and in our talks and like, you know, I could see where you're very detail oriented, as you should be, taking things seriously, you know, and like, you know, having the branding of that. It just took me a minute to kind of notice it and like bring it up in this interview, but I'm sure, you know, over time people will notice that too. And I don't know if you guys have like merch with the 215 on it too. And
we do, yeah. The 215 is for us.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't like. I think it's yes, I do take it seriously, but like I also I should probably make it clear that like I would dress this way even if I wasn't in a band. I'm a Harley rider, man. Like that's just this is my culture. Is
Everyone in this room can attest to that.
Yeah, like I like if you show up at my house on a random Sunday, I'm probably laying on my couch in a leather cut with my boots on, kicking my feet up, listening to Motorhead or something.
It'll be 90 degrees out with
Yeah.
100% humidity. Just as like I'm wearing pants today, man.
So it's not just like branding or a uniform. This is something that we do for us because it means something to us. And if people catch on to it and they want to be a part of it, that's totally fine too. We welcome that. But it's certainly something that we did for us too. So.
Yeah.
Right on, brother. Well, you're on the heels of this tour. You're rehearsing weekly. The set's dialed in. What else goes into the preparation of this? You know, when I talked to you last, Jesse,
Make Nick answer a question.
yeah, Nick, that's Nick. You're answering this one.
Like, Jesse and I are just like, look, dude,
I'm here to back you up, Nick.
we're moral support, you guys.
Guys, I appreciate it.
You told me that you'll rent a bus because if the thing breaks down, you can just drop it and get another instead of having to get the repairs. So you're getting all these things together. Like, what outside of the obvious of being rehearsed and all that is has gone into the tour prep?
For me anyway, for vocals and stuff, like I take that, my lyrics very, very seriously. So I like get into a headspace a couple of weeks before I leave, just kind of like shut everybody out and kind of get my own thing, and eating better and eating less, kind of bring myself closer to the the metaphysical part of it all, kind of thing.
That's a good answer, because there is an element. It depends on how far you want to take it, right? There are people in the band that are a little bit more spiritual on other aspects, and there are some others. Me and Nick are the kind of people that have to get in the right headspace. We're the kind of people that
we sage a lot.
We use a lot of sage. We use a lot of Palo Santo. That stuff is real to us. It's not. We're not playing games, But beyond the metaphysical aspect, the spiritual aspect to it, there's so much prep. I mean, I had to run down and grab product from label. I had to get product shipped. I had to get merch.
In the words of Sam from Morbosi Dad, it's like being an athlete, because you have to physically prepare your body for being beaten down for weeks on end.
Yeah.
Because like you think it's fun, and it is, but you completely ignore the fact that your body is naturally going to get fatigued if you don't sleep well, eat well, think well, and act well. So like you have to kind of prepare yourself before you leave for tour, both financially and mentally, because once you leave on tour, the job starts and it doesn't end until you get home. Unless an emergency happens and you got to be filled in, and somebody's like a death in the family, something like that, crazy coincidence that you don't ever want to think about. You got to be ready to be a marathon runner for like weeks.
To expand on that, sometimes that doesn't even stop it either.
Yeah, that's true.
My first Cloak tour, I was touring with the band Uada when I was still playing with Cloak. This is before I played for Uada. There was an emergency with their bass player, and he had to fly home from Florida from Cleveland. They didn't stop that tour. The bass player to Cloak, on the way to the next show in Pittsburgh, put his headphones on and learned all of Uada's set and played 6-7 shows until we knew that bass player was going to come back. So sometimes that doesn't even stop the train.
I'm glad you said that, because that was a situation I was thinking. Unless it's like a death in family, either way, the tour still moves. Like if one of us were having a problem on the tour and it's an emergency and it's like you have to go home, cool, we're going to figure out how we're going to hire somebody to take on the rest of the tour, because we're not stopping. That's just the mentality you got to have.
No, I believe it, man. I mean, these things are getting scheduled out months in advance. There's so many different pieces to it and promises made. So yeah, par for the course. And then for you, Bob, is this the with the prior work you've done? Have you done this extent of touring, or Is this gonna be the? Oh, I think I already know the answer. But yeah, let's let him tell us.
Yeah. I don't know why we're. Yeah.
He's gonna be like, dude, I've been across the
Yeah.
I
world
started laughing
20
because,
times.
well, no, because it's just funny because Bob's in the corner like, man, I hope they don't
Like,
talk
oh
to me."
man.
He's talking so much.
No, so this is my first time doing anything like this. So.
That's not true. You were Army.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've kind of lived in austere environments, we'll say, for weeks at a time. So in that way, the discomforts along the way will not be too bad. I hope.
Yeah.
So as a bassist, are you?
Don't give it up.
Yeah. No, we'll stick with you for a minute, brother. So, are you going to be going direct, or do you have like a, sort of like a scaled down setup? As bassists can sort of have that, I think more than guitar players, maybe. Like, what is your touring rig looking like?
So it's pretty simple. So obviously from my bass, we all have the same like wireless receivers for our guitars to connect to the amps. So I go from that right into a what the heck is that called? The Sans amp. Thank you. Yeah, the Sans amp, just to give it some grit, and then into an amp head, and it's a solid state. I wish I had tube, but but that's it. I mean, no effects, nothing. Active pickup, so I got to be extra careful.
Yeah, so we can grill him when he messes up on stage.
In that regard, you're able to take a direct out from the amp head, I would assume, and then the venue would provide the cab, or are you?
We don't take that risk anymore. I
You
mean,
bring the cabs with you?
We made that mistake one time on tour, and we blew ahead that way.
Okay.
Because we trusted the wrong sound guy. We'll just leave it at that.
Okay, so y'all are going out with heads, cabs, everything.
Mm-hmm.
There's really I've been in bands that toured with like some of the smaller like blue amps and stuff like that, or I've been in bands where they toured with like the amped threes, like the Blackstar amp threes. So there's a lot of bands will use modulators, and some of that stuff might be in our future for European tours or something. But there's still you cannot. I don't care what anyone says. You cannot replicate a tube head through a cab on a stage. It's not the same. And not only that, but I don't want to give a sound guy that much control over the sound. I don't know why anybody would, because you have to really trust that you're going to be able to hear yourself through that stage monitor if you're not using a cabinet. If you're just using a thing and you're going direct through the system, you're entrusting that sound guy with the entirety of your sound. And I don't think that's... I think that it's probably better to be safe than it is to give someone that much control.
Yeah, we've had plenty of nightmare stories on the road trusting the wrong sound guy. So our first tour was a wake-up call. Our first serious tour was a wake-up call to all of the things we need to make sure we don't rely on other people for doing. So our tours just progressively got better as we kept going it, because it was just like, don't have to rely on that guy for that. Here's everything you need. Plug it in. Go. Leave us alone. This is what we need. And it's made our touring experience a lot more seamless, because we don't have to worry about how incompetent somebody is behind a board. We already know what to do to fix it. So we don't have to hire a sound guy. He's the brains behind that, because that guy is an audiophile. So we have mastered the ability to kind of avoid a lot of things that a lot of bands run into on the road just because of his knowledge of touring before us.
Well, certainly, with the style and aesthetic of black metal, I'm sure, whether it's like recognized by people in the audience that are also musicians, or just subconsciously like the way it hits them, I'm sure that'll be appreciated, that you're using the real amp and not like a floor model that's trying to replicate. Because it's I guess if it's like technical, like progressive, something more modern, like and this is not meant to be condescending in any way, because the reason I'm even referencing this is because it's a band I like, but like Animals as Leaders or something like that, maybe they can get away with that, or like Periphery or something. But like
Totally.
black metal is meant to have
Yeah. So
a
yeah,
sound.
to your point, yeah, there is a as much as you can, you want to keep it raw. I think, like I said, at some point, I think some of that stuff is an inevitability depending on how often you tour, where you're going, and how much you want to control your own tone. But even we even control vocal effects. Nick will even bring effects for his voice, sometimes compressors, sometimes reverb. If the sound guy can provide that, which most venues can, great. But we have been in some situations where it hasn't been super quality or hasn't been cut right, and he's got the tools for that. So
very cool. And another thing I was interested in asking you is, being that you're able to that you've sort of removed some potential issues from the equation in just like you were saying, Dom, like just and Jesse, like just you have the sound, like you're not having to give them a direct out from effects in there, blah blah blah. But do you still would you contact a venue and say, hey, here's our stage plot, or would you scope out a venue prior and be like, hey, is there anything we should be worried? Does this place even look legit? Like, what is, you're doing these things.
Yes, our booking agent knows that, especially as our sets get more elaborate, because as natural as you want it, we have incorporated the element of symphonics, and there is this not only does we have to play a venue that has an adequate sound system to handle all of that, especially running triggers and tracks and all that, but we always have a stage plot. Our agent has it. She sends it out with every contract she sends out. She sends it out to them, and sometimes they see it and sometimes they don't. But more often than not, like I said, you come and do your fair share of not so good sound people, but then you also encounter a lot of really, really good ones where you show them the stage plot once and they're just like, oh, we'll figure it out, and it sounds fantastic. Mm-hmm. So I don't, for every 3 or 4 shows you play, you'll run into somebody who's maybe not so great, but that stuff happens, and you just, like I said before in the other interview, you got to deal with it. You just got to do what you got to do.
But to prevent it, you just prepare for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. And at the end of the day, the longer you're doing it, as I see in talking to you, that's just a realization you have. It's like, well, you can just keep having the same problems, like, or you can take control of it as you guys do, right? Yeah.
And to be totally transparent, this risking sounding maybe a little conceited, we're all in our 30s, man. Like, I have no desire to play a club that doesn't have an adequate sound system. Yeah. Like, if I'm being totally honest, like, I did that when I was in my teens and my 20s, and I'm not.
I still play DIY.
Sure, yeah, and I'm not saying not DIY, but like, so I'm not talking poorly on some of those venues. If that's what they want to do, that's great. It's just likely not a place you'll see Barry or Loth play if we can avoid it.
I agree with that. I always run a bit that I'm just a DIY guy.
So, and sometimes those clubs are an inevitability, but yeah, most of the time, if they do not have some sort of just adequate even, I'm not even asking for the best, just adequate sound system, will likely avoid the venue, because I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right to ask someone to pay $15, $20 to come to a show that doesn't have adequate sound system. We can't put on an adequate show, even if we're at our best and we have sound issues. As someone who loves music and loves to attend shows, I don't feel like that is fair to ask money from someone to come see a shitty sounding show. I mean, let's be real.
We've also experienced what it feels like. Yes, you did. I tried to walk past it. We've also experienced what it feels like to get to a show and somebody screw up our samples and it actually destroy the impact of our show entirely. So understanding that, we make sure, one, like he said, make sure we're playing venues that can handle it, but two, making sure we have the tools to prevent somebody on those 3 to 4 stretch days where you have good shows where the one guy shows up and makes it harder for you. But it's like, well, we saw this situation at X, Y, and Z show, so we bought this, so that way if we see this again, we don't have to deal with that kind of guy again. Here, fix the problem, make our show go. So being on the road is like where you really learn how to like survive as a musician and deal with sound guys more graciously, because you realize that like 90% of the sound guys out there are just doing their job the right way, but then it's the 10% that you run into that probably got hired, didn't know what they were doing right then in that moment, and they were doing their best, but it costs you your shows. It might not be their fault, but you prepare for those guys so that way it doesn't have to be their fault and we can all just have a good night.
Yeah, not to sound cynical, but or negative, but I go into every venue, I'm like, what's the worst thing about what I'm about to get into?
Not to sound cynical, but that's exactly what I'm going to do.
I'm a diva. My head's got to be
I'm literally
right
not trying to
the whole
sound like a
time.
native guy here, but what if I got stabbed right before I walked in?
No, I think, that's just setting your expectation.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And then if that thing
I'm kidding.
doesn't happen, it's like, okay,
I was prepared
dodge
for
that bullet. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it you don't have to go into a show anxious, afraid, or scared if you know everything that you've faced already has a preparation for it.
Yep.
Someone once told me, one of my mentors in my life once told me that anxiety is the price you pay for not being prepared.
Yep.
So we're never anxious about a show because we got all these tools.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes it still gets messed up, man, but that's just,
But that mess up births another tool.
True.
You just create another tool every time you see something that you're like, I have to avoid that next show. So we need to buy that to avoid that next time.
So I was really interested to get some insight into, as you guys talked about, it was a collaborative. Well, maybe mainly it seems that the composing, the orchestral stuff is sort of has fallen on your shoulders, or that you're knowledgeable in that, Nick.
Yeah.
But then, that you said, Dom, that you guys collaborate on that to a degree as well. Like,
We all did.
okay.
Yeah.
How do you, is there a specific program you use, or, are you skilled at like playing this on like a keyboard, or
Nick finally
do you
has
bust out a violin?
Nick
Like,
finally has a question where he's like,
what
I'll take
happens,
the mic right
man?
now.
Yeah, dude, this is your moment.
You
dude.
asked him the real question.
I use I don't know like the exact name, has like a bunch of different names, but it's East West Sounds Online Opus, something like that.
Okay.
And it's like hyper realistic, like choirs and symphonic instruments. And so and we obviously do all that MIDI, so that we play it obviously, but then we're able to clean it up and build off of that too.
I was going to say, he was, because his other band, Dave Scoofa, he does his solo stuff as symphonic.
Mm-hmm.
So that piece, knowing that we always wanted to incorporate that element, was much easier with him having the knowledge behind it. And a lot of it is MIDI that you'll hear on the record that comes out. But I do think it's worth noting that we did play it. A lot of it is played. Piano parts are played.
It's all played. We just.
Yeah.
I mean, just like anything, you clean up your mess when you've written the part. So, and then it's like we brought a keyboard out. We did everything. We took all each other's baseline ideas, and once we had our ideas, all right, let's go into the MIDI files and line everything up, quantize, and make sure it's perfect.
It's easy. You can you don't have to record the whole song again. You can just go in and play that one chord again and fix your mistake, kind of thing. Or if you change something in the song, you're like, well, now I have to change the symphonics. It's as easy as just going back and changing that.
That's the other thing too with like symphonic bands. Like they have a responsibility, like you said, to be on time. So you can't mess around and let them be sloppy. So I think we would be doing a fan base disservice to try and not clean them up and not make it tight as possible. So that way, when you do see us, you hear a polished, clean, forthcoming record, forthcoming sound, instead of just saying, "Well, it sounds natural because there's imperfections." It's like, okay, well, the imperfections don't need to be there,
And I know I've come from that, with my own stuff, but doing the Burial Oath album helped me, these guys know theory. I don't know. I still have the little notes written on my
He knows it, dude. Don't talk to me about that.
Wait, hold on. I don't claim to be the best at it, but what he's referencing is
I write in 4/4 what I assume to be writing 4/4 all the time, and Jesse
4/4
sends
to you.
back. And Jesse sends back, dude, you wrote in 6/8 again. I'm like, I did, didn't I, man?
and he's like, check out the song in 4/4. It's 6/8 or 3/4 or something.
No, I think that's very common. I've been, well, it's supposed to be live, but then it just turned into a studio project. But I have been contributed some bass to the project's called Witch Rune, and I think you, Anton, you guys might kind of know each other in some capacity, but
We are acquainted.
yeah, I had to fix, and it wasn't that hard, but I kind of had to wrap my head around it because anyway, the whole song was recorded in 4/4, and then I'm getting ready to have the drummer come track, and I'm just like, this is 6/8. This is not
Yeah.
right, you know. Like, so I had to figure it out, and I had to actually do some math. Like, it's I think it works out to 1.5 times the original tempo to convert it from 4/4 to 6/8, whatever it was. And once we got that dialed in, man, that just made the session go. You know,
I don't know what you just said, but so that's what I mean by like I don't like I talking about like changing the speeds.
So
I don't know that. For me, it's more or less just record it in 6/8, dummy, and get it. Just get it right the first time.
Well, no. So basically, it's like this. So like, say, it wasn't as easy as me saying like the original project was in 4/4 meter at said tempo. You know, let's say it was 180 or 160. I couldn't just then say now it's 6/8 at 180. The tempo had to change.
Oh yeah,
too.
okay, got it. I know what you mean now. Okay,
Yeah.
I was not. My brain was not processing that, but
it's really funny because when
Mine wasn't either. When I was, you know, I was like, "Wait, what the f?" You know, like I had
So when I send clicks to him, when I'm like sending tracks, I don't even send like the actual time measure anymore. Like I push my tone knob all the way to the top, so it's just cat. There's no hit anymore because I'm just like I don't want to be told that I wrote it in the wrong signature. I'm just like, here's a song.
he said everything he sends is in 6/8. Let's put that on the record.
No, but I did 4/4 a few times. It's fine.
But yes, the timing thing is something.
3/4.
But also back into the theoretical aspect of the keys, what Nick was mentioning, because I do want to circle back around to that.
There you go.
If you're doing pianos or keys or like symphonies, it's really important that you know what is a harmony of what and how those things work together. Because if you're a guitar player and you're playing a riff and you have all these notes going on, you don't want conflicting notes that are outside of the key from the pianos to be playing something different, or to even have one note that lands on something that conflicts with that.
I hated that process. I want that on the record. I hated that process.
So that part
know it existed.
Yeah, so that part sucks. So it's a little bit different than just like layering in keys and layering in pianos and saying, well, this sounds really, really cool. It's like, no, if the guitar's doing something, if we're going to have a counter melody with the keyboard, we have to make sure that that counter melody is not only in the same key, but is not stepping on the notes the guitar's playing. So it did get kind of convoluted and challenging in that aspect, but we figured it out.
Definitely opened up mine. Like I can't wait to come back to write more Scufa albums, just because like I know how to, you know, I was just like, oh, I want these instruments here, but they don't sonically make sense.
I would like it to go on record. The person who has made us all insane in that regard is that guy.
Yeah, I'm happy for it. I'm glad for it.
No, I am too. It's just funny. Like you don't think about these things because you get on a keyboard and you put it over music and you're like, oh, this sounds cool, and then you have somebody say, well, this note doesn't work with this. It's like, yeah, it does. It sounds cool, and then you isolate it, and I was like, that's a chaos chord. He's right. That doesn't work at all.
Yeah,
oh
you
my
can
goodness.
hear it now that he pointed it out. Like
Yeah.
I'm even like not even Blackman. I'm just writing like theatrical symphonic things.
Yep.
And I can like, ooh, I can hear that now that I know what to look for.
Yeah, you can't unhear it. It kind of messes with your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I go to kind of rewind to the beginning of the interview, like I was complimenting you guys, you know, just on like, you know, in listening to Cycles of Suffering, that, you know, that is a very melodic album, you know, and when you have that as opposed to you know, the certain more like, I guess you would say like archaic like type of it's not meant in any slight, but just like some black metal or just bands in general would have more of the just like straight up power chord type thing, you know. Even with power chords, you know, we're getting into real nerdy territory, but like, you know, you have the root and the fifth, so that chord is not defined to be major or minor.
Right.
So that you can just be like, oh, this sounds sick, I'm power chords. Then you start getting that symphonic element, and that's what I think you guys are referring to.
Yes, exactly.
Like,
and then it puts it in that box.
now we're in a key.
Yep.
Yeah. So
and that's so
hip.
he gets it.
So
and I
some
love
of
that.
the well, it's funny because some of the things that this was the importance of demoing a ton. So this record was demoed for like 6 months before we even actually took it to the studio, and it was just sending symphonics back and forth and working together during sessions where we drive down to Nick's and work on the symphonies for hours. And it's funny because a lot of the times we would have, like, some of these songs in the new record were written a specific way until we put the symphonies in. We're like, well, now we have to go back to the guitars, and now we have to change the guitars, and it has to match the symphonies now, so we don't go into this headache of going in and out of the studio changing a bunch of things as symphonies are getting laid down. So even writing the symphonies for the record itself changed a bunch of the guitar parts at the same time, just to make sure that the record was fluid across the board for
Honestly,
every aspect.
Even the vocals too.
Yeah.
My range, like even though it's just like, well, it's all science essentially.
Every instrument got pushed around after the symphonies hit. Like, the record changed after we dropped the symphonies in.
Yeah.
And I think it's worth noting too that we're not like the pretentious band that sits here to claim to be good at this. I think a lot of this is born from us learning through this process and how to do it too.
Oh yeah,
So,
you can clearly tell me and Nick are the nerdy ones. This is, yeah, dude,
yeah.
you learned how to play keyboards.
We don't claim to be the best at this, so thank you for the kind words and cycles.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Cycles.
I think anyone that there's, no matter what your way of getting there is, like, oh, well, I went to music school, or such and such taught me this, or some, you can get there that way, but you can also get there by just hammering away at it and knowing what sounds good to you. And right. So it's like, you either did it or you didn't, right? And then you guys have done it. The album's just, it will be rolled out at the appropriate time, and I'm excited to hear it, man.
I am excited to get it released. I think it's going to be fun. It's still got plenty of melody like Cycles, with a healthy dose of teeth this time. A little bit more. We got a lot of mellow death stuff going on, a lot of thrashy stuff going on that really wasn't kind of present in Cycles, which I'm excited about.
And vocally, it's my most intense, emotionally, I suppose.
It was fun to watch that get tracked in the studio.
So in going into Mercenary this time around, did this go in like concurrent days? Like, did you go like 2 or 3 days in a row, or was it like you'd go and then there'd be like a week in between to sort of reflect and then go back, or how did that sort of play out?
Him and I tracked drums day one. I tracked guitars day 2, and then I had an extra day to come in to finish, and then Nick did 1 day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
I was 2 days, you were 1, Nick was 1.
while we do play to a click, and obviously you have a little bit of studio magic, we do try to keep somewhat of a live element to our records. So me and Dom were in the same room. He was playing the guitar while I was playing drums of these clicks. So you go back, you layer in guitars, or maybe sometimes he chooses not to play so I can hear the drums a little bit clearer through the click. But there is still, I would say that record is still probably 30% live played. So when you hear the record, you're still going to hear what Barry Lowe sounds like live, which is kind of cool. So
Yeah.
So basically, like, there certain tracks ended up being scratch tracks, and then others were just kept because they captured the vibe of you guys playing at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the scratch tracks made the entire record, just because, again, like, these songs were like heavily rehearsed before we went to the studio. So like, our scratch tracks were usable for the most part, recording that record when we did it. For the record, every record we did before this was a live studio record. Like, we didn't separately sit down for each section like we did with this record. Cycles was recorded in a live setting, and then it was fine-tuned afterwards. Subjugation, same thing.
Yeah, rest of them were. I was just gonna say, yeah, all of them were
everything. Because we knew how big the record was going to be audibly. We knew that live wasn't going to be the perfect execution to deliver the best product. So me and Jesse went in with the expectation that, okay, we need to lock down the drums and we need to lock down the guitars.
That was all Bob's idea, by the way.
Bob really just came in clutch at the best possible time. Wouldn't have happened without you, buddy.
What is, like, a shadow writer for all time?
Ghost Rider. He's Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider, yeah. That's
He actually wrote the whole record. We're taking credit for it right now.
Well, we can start to wind down now. We're a little over an hour. Definitely no hurry, of course. I truly do appreciate you guys coming up to Kirtland, Ohio here. Jesse, you want to say you said you live in, was it Northfield?
Yeah, that
Okay.
area, Macedonia. So it's like it's not
Northfield
far.
Park? Is there a
There's a racetrack
or
over there.
something?
I live in like the bougie area, not by choice. We kind of lucked out and found a house over there, but it was cool because it's the middle point between Akron and Cleveland. So
Where do you stay at, Nick?
Hilliard, Ohio. It's like kind of the same thing, but in Columbus.
Okay, bet.
Yeah.
And then Bob, you're in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, just a little outside Pittsburgh.
Right on, man. Honestly, not because I went to see like Cavalera, basically Sepultura, Cavalera Bros play. I think it's called like Mr. Smalls.
we were just talking about them today. Yeah, yeah. Did they play
Yeah.
Mr. Smalls? Really?
Yeah, this
Wow.
was like maybe a year, like 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, it was a drive, but it's manageable. I don't know, would it take you like 2 hours to get over to rehearse with these guys? Yeah.
Same for me.
Oh man, when you
We were talking about Beneath the Remains today because I was like, that's probably one of the most underrated thrash metal records that
True.
exists to this day.
Dude, I was a rise for me growing. Well, I heard Roots and KSID first, and then I was just like, Arise is the best. And then
are you a Roots fan?
it's just nostalgic.
Okay, I was
like
gonna
if
say.
I just heard it, if I heard it today,
I was getting close to the mic. Like
You'd be like,
say
dude, this sucks, man. Like,
I'd be like, what? Yeah. But since it hit,
I said it. It sucks.
a lot of music like that. A lot of music, like I think, as you get older, and then you listen to it, and you're like, man, this is just dumb. Music that you used to like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
But-
sometimes
but
it
it's-
happens.
It's nostalgic to you.
yeah, I get that.
Oh, I have plenty of
Smash
bands that I
Mouth.
listen to that I'm eviscerated for.
He said
Smash
Smash Mouth.
Smash Mouth.
Dude, I love Smash Mouth.
I can't do it.
Hey now.
Hey,
Yeah. So, but it's like way off.
Threw him off.
No,
Threw him
you-
off.
no,
Oh,
you
Sepultura.
you need to listen to Beneath the Remains, man.
Sepultura.
That's top tier shit or
Arguably, like with
Shut up. Let him
Morbid
talk.
Visions, right? Was sort of like, provided, like was kind of in the black metal vein,
I guess. I don't know. I have a different.
prototype, I don't know.
I have a different thought and feeling on what black metal is than a lot of these guys. I think.
I don't think that there's a really justifiably good opinion of black metal at this point. It's expanded so many different branches that like having an opinion is already, I don't know, kind of condescending in its own right, because it's just like, well, my vision of black metal is the right vision. Like, well, his vision of black metal is. It's just
Do you get people like every once in a while like some random person like send you a message like you guys aren't
dude.
true
So
black metal.
the
I
one-
have,
the-
I've never had that.
So
I
the
did.
the one moment that cracked me up forever to this day was the original Pagan Fires video. It was like so unpagan fires.
Oh yeah.
That was the
I
only
don't-
comment I ever saw, and I was like,
so
"Wow, that's hilarious."
my thing is I never even other than the first handful of releases when we moved into the Cycles of Suffering territory, I stopped considering us a black metal band in its entirety. So for me, black metal became an attitude. It became kind of an idea, a mindset. It's very derivative of punk, same kind of idea. And I think you can still be polished and play well and not suck live when you have that mindset and that attitude. But even this new record, it's funny because even this new record we're putting out, I think still, I don't think I would still honestly sit here and call it black metal. I guess under the grand scheme of thing, maybe people would, but I would consider it more of a gothic, symphonic heavy metal record, that can, I mean, black metal people may like it, they may not, but I also think that there's stuff there that people that like Melodeath will like too. I don't know. So
we got plenty
Yeah.
of Euroblast, dude. Everybody will be okay, man.
there's a lot of those.
A lot of high pitched vocals.
It's
so.
okay, dude.
It's pretty black
Everything
metal.
sounds like it's barreling down from the gates from hell. Okay,
Yeah, I
It's
was
okay, dude.
I was gonna say earlier, there's a guy in his group I was in, and I posted of Stingin', and he was like, "Death to fake black metal," and I was like, "But we're wearing the paint, we're wearing the spikes, the nails, the bullets." Like,
Which is also funny because Offsting is like the most black metal thing you've ever done.
Yeah.
We've ever done.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's just interesting, and it's like I guess it's just certain styles. I mean, dude, that's how you were like relating it to punk. I mean, that's how a lot of punk people are like, well, you're not that's not punk, and this is punk. It's like, man, this music is like over. It's 1977. Like what's like 40? It's like very old now. You know, so it's just like, well, is anybody punk? And you know,
Things
it's just
do.
like it's just music.
Yeah,
you know?
things do grow and evolve. To Dom's point, and this is where him and I will see eye to eye, whether our definition of black metal at its core is different, where him and I will see eye to eye is the fact that if you are sitting there telling someone that they're not punk, or you're trying to categorize something as not punk, usually the people telling people something that they're not, or pointing the finger at that, are probably not the people that are what they say they are to begin with. Like, I couldn't imagine being in a black metal band looking at black. As much as we like to have different definitions of what black metal is, I'm never going to be in a black metal band and be like, well, that's not black metal. You know, that would be very...
He might have opinions.
I might have opinions.
Like, I don't like this band, or this band is a good definition of what this is supposed to sound like.
Yeah.
But to sit there and claim that you are the godfather of black metal knowledge is kind of
punk or black or any genre, really. It's super cringe.
You're lucky to be involved in it, so just shut up and play the music.
Right.
Yeah.
And death metal guys get like that sometimes too. They'll be like, "This is death metal."
You are lucky to be in that world, so just appreciate it, respect it, and move on. That's pretty much all you can do. Because no matter what
do you
do,
feel?
especially in this genre, whether you want to call us black metal or not, there are going to be 100 people that are like, yeah, this is a black metal band. And then there are going to be 100 other people be like, these guys suck. They're not black metal. They're wannabe dudes. You're going to have that regardless of how you play your music, so you might as well play what you like.
Yep, I learned that the hard way too with Scufa, because it's not. There are some riffs in there, but it's all like pretty chords and symphonics, and you know, it's all talking about knights and wizards, so it's not really categorically black metal. So, you know.
Yeah, I think, you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what you want to call it. Like, if you write stuff that resonates with you, you know, and the guys that you're writing it with, like, you know, it's probably most definitely going to appeal to somebody. And if it's a more selective audience, then so be it.
I was gonna say, on that note, let's cue the exit music, boys.
Me and Jesse, we developed a bit on tour where it's just like we got super into like 80s like dream pop and like dark wave, and like we're just like, you know, in like the 80s movies where like right when they say like that one liner where they like walk off or drive away in the car, it's just like, hey man, see you on the other side.
I can't wait to hear this live stream back to see what that sounds like.
Cue the cool guy music.
Yeah, dude.
Are you in the are you doing the Annul Noir with
Yes, I am the vocalist and bassist with him.
Because now it's just click with me, but when you're on stage, I think you have like a bandana or something.
Yes.
But I'm like, oh, I've seen that forehead.
Yeah, I have a face. Yeah, I've seen that forehead.
Probably all you can see in the cameras.
That literally just became a bit, dude. Damn.
It's probably all you can see in the cameras. He's so
man,
little.
I can see the camera. I'm
Shit.
fine.
I mean,
No, it's my way, and he helped me craft it. It's my way of both creating a powerful identity outside of Burial Oath, where I am that character within Annul Noir, and my other project, Vintergrav, where Burial Oath, I am this dude who's wearing the bracers and the armbands and all of the cut. You know, like there is a separation. So like they're making jokes, but like I don't practice in my gear, and I get ripped on pretty hard for that, man.
hold on,
so
that's
are
not
you
it.
showing up at
Let me
the Burial Oath rehearsals and like
Short
basketball short shirts?
let me correct this story
I'm
before.
gonna be in chamber right now, waiting to rebuttal this.
Let's correct this right now. It's not that we need him to practice in his gear. It's just that I know once we get on tour, there's going to be a really hot show, and he's going to be real stiff-legged up there, and he's going to be like, "Dude, these good bracers," and then we're going to be like, "Well, you broke him in."
Yeah, Bob.
Yeah. Just also, for the record, I always rehearse in my stuff. You know?
Oh my God.
Always.
It's like
100% of the time.
does it more than I do,
ever
actually.
since I got hired, I always practice in my stage gear.
Always.
He does it more than I do.
He really does. Bob does practice in his gear more than everybody else does.
And that is why Bob is the only original member in Burial Oath.
There it is, right there.
Thanks, guys.
No, thank you.
I would like my royalties.
Wouldn't be here without you, buddy. Kind of true, though. Yeah. Like, thanks, man.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it, dude.
Yeah, you're welcome. So the tour dates have been announced. Posted that and included that in the little promo I put for the show. If anyone that's hearing this, look up Burial Oath. I believe I'm assuming you guys have like a Bandcamp too for any like merch or I think was it Big Cartel you told me last time?
Well, no. So we're talking about getting that out. So we have some stuff on the Bandcamp, but most of it, because it's like most of our merch for this tour is going to be exclusive.
Okay.
So there is going to be some Bandcamp stuff on there, but it's going to be stuff you can't buy online. So if people do want a cool T-shirt, I'm not naive enough to think we're going to have droves of people lining up at our table or anything, but our merch is going to be more exclusive this tour. So
I'm assuming you'll put it online after we get back, yeah.
No.
Cool.
Tour leftovers.
Tour exclusive. Maybe.
I don't know. I think maybe through redefining, maybe the albums could be purchased. Or
Yeah,
I'm not
we
sure
have
how that works.
CDs and cassettes listed. I don't know if Redefining has any left. I think we had to buy them out of their inventory for this tour to get by because we didn't have many left. So
Okay.
I think even our CDs and stuff will be pretty exclusive live.
Yeah, Nick.
I think your best shot at getting anything from Burial Oath at the current moment is on tour. But
Are you playing on the 23rd this month?
yes.
Yeah.
See, I'm gonna actually try to be there because I had a gig that was supposed to do with someone else that got canceled,
Okay.
and I saw you guys were playing, but in that. So where is that 23rd? Because that is
23rd is
no
Maple
class?
Grove.
Oh, Maple Grove.
Let me know if you're coming, man. I'll put you on the list.
Oh, yeah. Hey, thank you. I appreciate.
But no,
that,
for
man.
real, we'll get you
coming in right
Sure.
now. I want on the list too.
The first 5 callers.
First
five callers.
Get on the list. First 5 callers.
No, that's funny you
Check
said
the
that.
number on the bottom of the screen. Doesn't show up.
It's
Looks
funny
like
you
missed your
said
shout.
that about the calling in because we had Curran Murphy from Venom Inc. Last week, and he reposted the promo and put something to the effect of like call in with any questions, and I don't. It didn't come up in the interview. He wasn't like, hey, I want people to be able to call in. But I was just like, oh, cool. He didn't. Because for me, I've just been avoiding that. Like, I don't want. I've got plenty of stuff I can ask you, and I want you to be able to, like, use
Sure.
this. I don't want someone to just call in and be like,
Oh, no, man.
or,
that
like,
was,
try to.
Oh yeah,
like,
that was a bit.
yeah, I
dude.
was totally joking.
troll or something. Or
Please don't
something.
call me and ask me
please
to be
don't
on the
call.
guest
There
list.
is no
Yeah.
5 callers list.
Please don't-
This
please-
is a bit,
They
dude.
can call.
Please don't ask me to be
But
on the
that
guest list.
hasn't happened
Please.
yet. Watch, right now someone's just going to call in.
It's my mom.
But
She's watching. Right?
If the first 5 callers that call will actually be not on the guest list exclusively.
You're like on the blacklist if you call in, right?
And,
Double the price
and
now.
that's saying a lot because we're so popular.
Kind of popping off the shelves, dude.
Well, hey y'all, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, man.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I'll be there on the 23rd at the Maple Grove.
We have video proof now, dude. You can't back out.
Yeah, man. No,
We got
I'm
you on the
down,
record.
man.
We know where you work.
That
You showed us how to get here.
no, but yeah, I'll definitely be there for that. Anyone else that's listening, Cleveland area folks, you guys should come through as well, and hop on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen to music. Check out the Cycles of Suffering album, and look forward to. Do you have a working title for the new album, or will that'll just remain to be known?
I don't
We-
think we should announce it just yet.
We don't have a working title.
We
but
have
I'm
the
happy.
title.
I'm happy to share the single name that we'll be playing live on tour.
Oh yeah, let's get it.
We will be
Let's get the
playing. We will be
exclusive.
playing the new song, the new single from the new album on tour exclusively. It is called "A Map of Desire Etched in Fleeting Crimson."
I like that, man.
I know that there's one dude, if he's watching this right now, he's like, yes, because there's a couple people have heard that song and they're like, yeah, dude.
Yeah. Well, I want to get Noah on here sometime, and then because that would just tie into so many like people I've interviewed already that that have worked with you guys. I know Corey Fistula has been there. Scott Brian, like Odious Sanction is recording there right now.
If you're not working with Noah, you're not working with the right person in Cleveland.
Right.
True.
Metal bands, listen up. So we can wrap up for tonight. Thank you guys so much for coming up here. Wish you all the best on the tour, and look forward to doing a follow-up interview somewhere down the road. Hear back on how everything went with the tour after the fact, and maybe try to line that up with the release of the new album.
Sure, man. Yeah, just let us know.
We can let you know when Bob writes the next record. So
yeah,
I'm gonna get tapped in with Bob, man.
Yeah, he's hit. The whole thing hinges on him.
yeah,
We're still in the research phase for the next
one. No pressure or anything, Bob.
Yeah, no pressure.
Anything you guys want to say before we wrap up?
The only thing I want to say is just thank you for having us out, man. I'm a very big fan of what you're doing. I want to say that I think this kind of interviewing and this sort of it is a different form of journalism in a way, but I do think it helps put bands on the map, and I do think it helps build a community, even if it's just a digital community of people, word of mouth and all that kind of stuff. So enjoy the interviews. Thanks. Appreciate it.
I really thought he was going to do and this is MTV.
No.
True.
Hey man, thank you so much. That means a lot to me. And I know you had, even before you came on, I think you just commented on a post and saying, the interview was really cool. I think after interviewing Tommy, and then I'm just like, hey, well, you should come on. And you're like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah.
And I'm always just so thankful that people are willing to drive over here, because I do offer, like with Mulciber guys, I'm like we can just do Zoom, that's fine. But I'm glad it worked out, because you guys were already had a rehearsal today, so you're like, all right, we'll just come up. And
yeah, I didn't know you did Zoom until that Mulciber interview, but yeah, either way, I'm sure we'll figure out a way to be here. I appreciate having these guys around, because I think
prefer in-person interviews personally.
I do. I mean, I take everything as an opportunity.
Do you?
to learn, like a teachable moment, as they would say. But it's a lot less stressful, I don't know. It's nice to have people in the room.
Yeah.
Body language is what you get to read when you're actually with somebody and talking with them and chat with them and actually feel out what's going on. I feel like a lot of that communication can be lost in Zoom, whether it be technical issues or just face-to-face not being there. We live in such a digital age. Streamlining that sometimes can take away the personal the human aspect of an interview, and that's why I think in-person interviews have always just kind of been superior in that regard. True, dude. Yeah. Super true. Look how serious I sound.
All right, y'all. Thank you for listening to this, and find some Burial tracks to listen to. Come out on Maple Grove, Ohio, folks, and this is gonna be streaming on YouTube, streaming on Spotify, anywhere in the world you can hear it. So if you live in the United States, check out these guys' tour dates, get out to a show, and see in person the hard work that they put into this band, that they're taking it seriously, and put on an excellent show for y'all. I'm looking forward to seeing it myself on the 23rd at the Maple Grove in Maple Heights, Ohio. All right, y'all. I think we can say hell yeah, right? Can we just get a hell yeah?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, brother.
Party foul.
See, you already
That's what happens.
You got punished for breaking the rules, dude.
It's just water.
It just did it again. It's like, you want to challenge me, dude?
Oh man, we are putting the wrong energy out there.
Man, I just snitched on myself.
It's on record,
The
too.
Lakeland Community College. Hopefully, I can continue to do my show, because I just spilled my water bottle twice. And it's all on the
It's
interview.
just water.
One more hell yeah, and we'll close it out for tonight.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
All right, y'all. Keep it heavy out there.